So one of my heroes, a man by the name of Alexander von Humboldt, said over 200 years ago, the most dangerous worldview is the worldview of those who have never viewed the world. Let me share a quick story about a trip I took that completely changed my worldview. It was 2007. I was with my best buddy and now business partner, Greg, and we had bought a ticket into Delhi and a ticket out of Mumbai. Nothing planned in between for 6 weeks. And the way that we traveled was we'd meet interesting people and basically convince them to introduce us to their interesting friends. So a disciple of Vedanta up in Rishikesh sent us to meet his guru down in Pune. A successful shopkeeper in Agra sent us all the way down to Cochin to meet his friend who started an import-export business out of 200 square feet and turned it into 200,000 square feet. And the list goes on and on. But one person that sticks with me in particular is a guy by the name of Dinesh. Greg and I were in Kerala, and we decided to carve out a day to go hiking one of its tallest peaks. Dinesh was our guide. And over the course of that morning, we got to know Dinesh. I remember asking him at some point, Dinesh, is guiding your passion? And he responded candidly, no, sir. Well, Dinesh, if guiding isn't your passion, if it's not your life's purpose, what is? I'm an artist, sir. I love to paint. Well, Greg and I love art. Would it be possible for us to see some of your work? And at that moment, it was as if no one had ever asked him that question before. His eyes grew wide, and he responded excitedly, can I show you? And so we hopped in the truck and drove the back roads of Kerala past groves of coconut palms, little tiny villages. And on the outskirts of a speck of a village, there was this speck of a house, smack dab in the middle of a coconut grove. And as we hopped out of that truck, I remember Dinesh's mother and father and wife greeting us. They led us to the back patio of their humble home. And Dinesh's mother was there picking fresh fruit off of her trees and squeezing it into a deliciously sweet juice. And all of us drank. And as we finished that juice, we said, okay, Dinesh, it's time to see this artwork of yours. And he led us into his bedroom, literally the size of an extra-large dining room table. And we sat on the edge of his twin-size bed, the only piece of furniture in that room. And as I looked up, all of his walls were covered in his art. And he'd take a piece off and show it to us and put it back on and another piece and explain the inspiration behind it. And although I can say that Dinesh had not quite mastered his craft, he was so proud, and all of us were smiling, and we all walked away from that experience changed for the better. Travel is indeed the best form of education. And what that first trip to India taught me, that was by forging deep human connections with others. That's the antidote to fear. That's the elixir to a richer life. Now there's some really, really good news. More people are traveling the world today than ever before. Travel is the 7th largest industry. It's the 3rd fastest growing. At the high end, over $1 trillion are spent on luxury experiences. And the younger generations are just accelerating this shift as they prefer experience over things. But it's also not without its hurdles. It seems like every single day across all of our screens, images of terrorism, disease, epidemic, political strife, economic uncertainty. They create a narrative that this world is a scary and dangerous place. Causes people to not want to walk out their front doors every morning, let alone hop on a plane and jump halfway across the world. And we know that in times of uncertainty, travel and tourism is often the first sector to get hit. We don't have to look too far to see the devastation in Egypt, what's happened in Paris, the UK, Africa, as they had to deal with Ebola, or the Caribbean with Zika. Even in the United States, the political climate and this narrative of unwelcomeness is costing this country billions of dollars. But there's also some really, really good news. And I believe that with uncertainty, first off, with uncertainty, stopping to travel it doesn't only cause economic implications. Ceasing to travel really pulls the plug on that which makes us human. Travel bridges the education and cultural gaps. It fosters shifts in perspective. It fuels curiosity, empathy, tolerance, respect, understanding. And when we stop traveling, that's when ignorance sets in. That's when even hatred of now faceless cultures happens. At the end of the day, it's just a lot easier to push that red button and drop bombs on people that we don't know. Now, I know it's important for the industry to make sure that we've got heads in beds, we've got butts in seats, that we're increasing our RevPAR and our ADR. I just believe there's so much more at stake. There's such a larger opportunity. I believe that travel has the opportunity to become the most important and successful engine of political, economic, social, cultural, and educational progress and understanding in the history of modern times. So what can we do? What can we do to not only move the industry and travel forward, but change the trajectory of importance of travel on the world stage? I believe it starts with one thing. We have to help people fear less. Fear less by getting them to travel in deeper, richer, more meaningful ways. Ways that transforms lives, communities, and ultimately the planet we live on. We have to remind ourselves every single day why travel really matters, so that we can infuse it into everything that we do and everyone that we touch. So let me show you one example of why travel really matters.
At first, I was nervous. I had the butterflies, and I really do not know what to expect.
How's it gonna be over there? I've never been anywhere but outside my house.
I was looking at pictures to prepare myself for it.
I felt like if it was a dream. I couldn't believe I was there.
This is actually my first time ever traveling abroad. It was my first time on a plane, first time seeing the ocean. So this is a big first for me. I've always wanted to, but I've never had the opportunity, so I'm really happy to be here.
We went to this it was local, very small school. It really made me cherish and appreciate my education because I got to see what it was like here and what the conditions were.
If there's one thing we know about travel, it's one of those endeavors that makes you feel alive. And the reason why it makes you feel alive is because it puts you in places that are uncomfortable and unfamiliar.
It was like way beyond beautiful. It was like things you can't explain. The feeling you have inside is things you can't explain.
It's really a unique combination of events that gets them out of their comfort zone. And that's why when they come back, it is so moving. It is so reaffirming of the power of travel.
Once I got through the trip, I didn't want to come back. I didn't even sleep on my last day just because I was pretty sad that it had ended so quick.
I think to appreciate things in life was the thing that I brought back from Costa Rica.
And the whole experience just made me open my eyes. I would really want to do something so I could give back.
The educational component, and then also this notion of when you get something, you have to give something back, is what makes learning AFAR unique.
I actually want to go back to Costa Rica. When I have the chance, I want to go back.
First time seeing the ocean. Those students live in Oakland, California, 15 miles away from the Pacific Ocean. And to appreciate things in life, the other student said, his parents make a combined household income of $20,000 a year. Last year, we sent 250 students on trips like this. But imagine what this world would be like if we could send 1 million students on trips like this. It would completely change the fabric, DNA, and narrative of this country of ours, of this world that we live in. So what can we do? What can we do to help this world rise above fear, pack its bags, and keep traveling? I believe there's 5 things that we can do to at least get started. The first is travel every single day. Travel isn't something you do 2 weeks out of the year for vacation or what you do for a business trip. Travel happens the second you walk out your front door every morning. It's a mindset about being curious, open-minded, willing to get outside of your comfort zone and stretch yourself. In addition to counting the number of countries you go to, why not start counting the number of kitchen tables in those countries? Or the next time you hop in a taxi or an Uber or a Lyft, it's really easy to pull out your iPhone and start tapping away at that next email. How about next time you look at the name of the driver and guess where he or she's from? And then get on your phone and type in top 10 phrases in said language. I guarantee you that decision will take your day a completely different way. The second thing is to create purpose-driven brands that stand for something. People want to align with things that align with their values. It's important to share the what, but it's really magical to share the why. The third thing is a concept I call travel deeper. Us humans, we crave immersion. We crave connection. We crave a sense of self-realization. Help people find their Dinesh. There's millions of beautiful destinations out there, thousands of great hotels. But it's those places where you make meaningful human connections that you find yourself coming back to. And the fourth thing is just be real. We hear it a lot, authenticity. And look, I love supermodels on elephants, on deserted beaches as much as the next person, but I travel a lot. I haven't seen that supermodel on the elephant on the deserted beach just yet. So we live in a beautiful world. Celebrate that. Let's celebrate the world as it is in all of its beautiful colors. And finally, take leaps, embrace the unknown, because after all, isn't that such a powerful way to live? And isn't that the essence of what travel is really all about? And with that kind of travel comes empathy. And with that kind of empathy comes understanding. With understanding comes the ability to fear less. And who here doesn't want to help the world fear less? Thank you.